Yo people, welcome back to another video. Today we have a massive one for you. I've been mentioning here and there that I've been working on an in-depth Trickster guide, and today's the day that I'm finally releasing it. In the guide we're going to cover tips and tricks for Trickster to help you win those games, how to play loops and tiles against survivors, Trickster's best add-ons in my opinion, and Trickster's best builds in my opinion. I hope this guide can help you master Trickster, and if you feel like you've learned something today, please feel free to subscribe. Enjoy the video. Now let's get on to tips and tricks. I'm going to start off with throwing blades, because that is Trickster's power. And I think that one of the biggest bad habits that you might find with some Trickster players is holding down the throw button rather than tap firing. Doing this can waste many blades and put you at disadvantage. So I would suggest tap firing, as the fire rate doesn't really change, but you have more control of your aim and your blades. I also find that aiming anywhere between the survivor's butt to their feet will help you land so many more blade hits. Only when they're visible though, because on certain loops only the survivor's heads and shoulders will be visible, so aim for them then. And you don't want to overthrow your blades, as you may end up losing distance. You only want to throw how many you know that you can hit, which is usually 2 to 3 on most loops. By only throwing the max blades you can hit in the frame, you are not going to lose any distance. If you overthrow, you will lose distance and the survivor may make another loop or get away quicker. You can shoot over a lot of filler pallets and loops, so use this to your advantage. And also, try not to hold your blades up, as you are significantly slower when doing this, meaning you lose distance and pressure. Only pull up when you know you're going to get some laceration hits. Now onto Trickster's main event. After you hit 8 lacerations on any survivor, this can be split between multiple, so you can hit 4 on one survivor, 2 on another, and 2 on another, and then you'll unlock main event. And once activated, you unleash a flurry of blades at rapid fire rate, and if played correctly, you can guarantee a health state, and sometimes 2, even more. With main event, you must be patient though. Just because you can activate it, it doesn't mean that you should. You need to wait until the right opportunity arises. For example, if someone is looping and there is very limited line of sight, you would most likely be detrimental to you and you would lose a lot of pressure, distance, and you might have wasted a main event. You want to wait until you know that you'll get guaranteed hits. A very neat trick that I like to do with my main event is disguising the direction of my blades. Usually, survivors look at where the blades are coming from rather than Trickster himself. So if you start throwing your blades round one side of a loop, but moonwalk at the same time, almost every time the survivor will run into your moonwalk and you can hit a flurry of blades. Some survivors may be aware of this though, so it's all about mind games. You could fake one way, fake again, but then fake again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Whatever mind games that usually work for you will most likely work with main event, so give it a go. It's all about trial and error. If you try something a few times and it doesn't work, you know not to do that. But if you try something and it does work, and then you know that you can use that to your advantage. Main event can also shred through endurance a lot of the time. So if you need, you can hit 8 blades through the endurance and then another 8 almost instantly after, resulting in the down. This counts for dead hard, off the record, syringes, styptics, base kit unhook, endurance, and more. So if you're gonna tunnel, use main event if you have it. There is a slight delay from activating main event to when you actually start throwing your blades, so you need to try and read the loop stroke area or situation that you're in, know when you want to start throwing, and activate main event just slightly before to maximize the amount of blade hits you can land on a survivor. Also, when you're throwing blades before you've activated main event, while you've still got your blades up, like while you're holding M2 or the aim button, you can still trigger main event, so you don't have to let go of the aim button. So you can trigger main event while you're aiming, and it just makes the chases a lot quicker, so you can get those more blade hits. And obviously there's one thing that's very important about Trickster, and that's his blade count. Trickster only has 44 blades at base kit, so you want to make sure that you watch out for your blade count, as you don't want to realise you're low until it's too late. A common question that I get asked quite a lot is, when do you reload? I personally reload when I have around 20 blades or less, or when you're in the 20 to 30 range and you know that you won't lose pressure. My ideal time to reload is, say, for example, when Grim Embrace pops and nobody can pressure gens while they're blocked, I also like to reload once I've downed a survivor, depending on the situation. But yeah, you want to reload at that 20 or less mark. The topic that I want to talk on is distance. Despite being a ranged killer, Trickster is not actually that useful from far. You might be able to get a few tags here and there from distance, but you'll be much better off getting closer to the survivor and then start throwing your blades. You may see me throw from far, but this is only to try and get a few tags for my advantage. Also remember that you are a lot slower when you're holding your blades, so you might lose distance. I also sometimes use my main event from distance, as the throw rate is significantly quicker and the accuracy is better too, meaning if I play it right, you can often get a health state or two, but again, it is still better to be patient with your main event until you're closer. If you do decide to throw blades from distance, it's important to keep in mind that there is distance fall off, so try leading your shots and this may help you land more from distance. And my last tip is to subscribe to me. I try to upload almost every day with fresh, top quality, high MMR Trickster gameplay. I explore the best builds, fun builds, add-ons, playstyles, tips and tricks and more. By watching my videos, hopefully they can help you improve your Trickster skills. And now we're moving on to how to play loops and tiles against survivors. Trickster has the ability to counterplay a lot of loops and tiles in Dead by Daylight, so this section of the guide will be some tips and tricks to help you counterplay these loops. First of all, some loops and tiles, you are just better off going for the M1, as trying to hit 8 blades may take way too much time, resulting in a loss of pressure. So when survivors start an action, such as vaulting a window, vaulting a pallet, or dropping a pallet, they are locked in the animation, meaning you have the chance to land 2 to 4 blade hits, sometimes even more, so use that to your advantage in chases. Sometimes respecting pallets can be very beneficial to you, as you can get an extra 2 to 4 blade hits whilst the survivor is dropping a pallet, but be careful not to become too predictable, as the survivor may greed and you might lose distance. It's all about reading how the survivor plays. On the subject of pallets, a lot of the time you might not even need to break it, as you can outplay, stroke counterplay a lot of pallet loops. You can hit the survivors as they play around and vault pallets, but don't think this applies to every single pallet, because sometimes it's worth breaking the pallet so you don't waste time. But when breaking the pallet, try to do so that you can zone the survivor in a bad stroke weak area. So that brings us on to zoning. If possible, try to zone the survivors in a weak, bad or open area, as this is where Trickster can shine. By putting survivors in these kind of areas, you'll be able to land more blade hits, resulting in quicker chases and downs. You can zone survivors by cutting them off, forcing them a certain direction, breaking pallets when they are on the side of a dead zone, etc, etc. Mind games are one of a killer's greatest assets. Simple ones such as hiding your red stain, or faking one way then going another, moonwalking, and so on and so on. Successful mind games on Trickster can mean the survivor puts themselves into an exposed position, meaning you can land some blade hits. One mind game that I absolutely love is when a survivor has vaulted a window, then you walk up to the window as if you're going to vault it, and then you'll see the survivor hesitate and begin to run either left or right. You pretend to walk to the side that they've run to, then quickly vault the window, and they will most likely have run straight into you, meaning you can land some nice blade hits. Another variation of this is not vaulting the window at all, but instead throwing blades as they run back into your line of sight. This can be done on both pallets and windows. Another favourite mind game of mine is the main event one that I discussed earlier. Try whatever mind games that typically work for you and see if they help out with your blade hits. When learning a new killer, it can be hard to find what add-ons are the best, as sometimes the description doesn't help or the rarity can throw you off. Here are some Trickster add-ons that I would recommend using in your games. I'm also working on a Trickster add-on tier list, so hopefully that will help you out too. My personal favourite, the best combo, is Memento Blades, which increases the throw rate of blades by 10%, and Tequila Moonrock, which increases the duration of main event by 60%. And when you get a little more advanced, what I find really fun is Trick Blades, which causes blades to ricochet off the environment a total of 2 times, and Tequila Moonrock or Memento Blades. And if you're just starting out, I would recommend Cage Heart's Shoes, as this increases your movement speed in the throw state by 0.1 meters per second, and it just kind of helps you while you're learning the loops or you're learning the killer, trying to just get a feel for his power. And pair that with Memento Blades or Tequila Moonrock, as they'll help you. A fun add-on combo that I like to use is Waiting for You Watch, which increases the duration of main event by 0.4 seconds for every successful blade hit, and Tequila Moonrock. Pairing those two together means you can get a really long main event, and then I'm going to discuss perk builds later, and pairing this with a certain perk build is going to be insane. Another fun add-on combo is Trick Blades and Diamond Cufflinks, where the auras of survivors one hit away from maximum laceration are revealed to you for 6 seconds, which is very useful in certain situations. Now we're moving on to the best perk builds on Trickster, and we're going to kick it off with my favourite that I run in most of my videos. I like Bamboozle. After vaulting a window, Bamboozle blocks that window for the next 16 seconds, and blocked windows cannot be vaulted by survivors. It also increases your general vaulting speed by 15%. Bamboozle can only block one window at a time. Then I like to use Hex Blood Favor. Whenever a survivor loses a health state by any means, Hex Blood Favor blocks all pallets within 32 meters of that survivor's location from being pulled down for the next 15 seconds. Paired with Trickster's ability, this is incredible. All effects of the Hex perk persist until the totem is cleansed. Pain Resonance. You start the trial with 4 tokens on Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Each time a survivor is hooked on a Scourge Hook for the first time, 1 token is consumed, and the following effects apply. The generator with the most progression explodes and instantly regresses by 20% of its total progression. All survivors repairing that generator will scream, but not reveal their location. Grim Embrace, which pairs perfectly with Pain Resonance. Each time a survivor is hooked for the first time, Grim Embrace gains 1 token, and activates once you are at least 16 meters away from the hook. For the first 1 to 3 tokens, it blocks all generators for 10 seconds, and once you get that 4th token, it blocks all generators for 40 seconds, and the aura of the obsession is revealed to you for 6 seconds. Now this build I would suggest to some beginners on Trickster. It's going to help you learn the character and just develop your skills. We're going to kick it off with No Way Out. For each survivor you hook for the first time, No Way Out gains 1 token. Once the exit gates have been powered, No Way Out activates. And when a survivor interacts with an exit gate switch, you receive a loud noise notification, and the entity blocks both exit gate switches for 12 seconds, and an additional 12 seconds per token in your possession, up to a combined maximum of 60 seconds. So if the game's not going too well, but you've managed to hook everybody, this just gives you a little bit more time to get some pressure while they can't really do anything. And then Pop Goes the Weasel. After hooking a survivor, Pop Goes the Weasel activates for 45 seconds. Kicking a gen while Pop Goes the Weasel is active will instantly regress the generator by 20% of its current progression. Corrupt Intervention. At the start of the trial, the 3 generators located furthest from you are blocked by the entity for 120 seconds. Corrupt Intervention deactivates prematurely once the first survivor is put into the dying state. Bamboozle. After vaulting a window, Bamboozle blocks that window for the next 16 seconds. Blocked windows cannot be vaulted by survivors. It also increases your general vaulting speed by 15%. Bamboozle only blocks 1 window at a time. And this build, you might have seen my video on it, is a chase build. Basically, it just allows you to get into chases and you don't really have to worry about gens in the background. So we're going to kick it off with Ruin. Whenever a generator is not being repaired by a survivor, it will immediately and automatically regress its repair progress at 100% of the normal regression speed. Hex Undying. The auras of survivors within 4 meters of any dull totem are revealed to you. When another perk's hex totem is cleansed or blessed, its hex is transferred to the Hex Undying totem, including any accumulated tokens, disabling Hex Undying instead. Meaning your Ruin essentially has 2 lives. Bamboozle. After vaulting a window, Bamboozle blocks that window for the next 16 seconds. Blocked windows cannot be vaulted by survivors. It also increases your general vaulting speed by 15%. Bamboozle only blocks 1 window at a time. Hex Blood Favor. Whenever a survivor loses a health state by any means, Hex Blood Favor blocks all pallets within 32 meters of that survivor's location from being pulled down for the next 15 seconds. All effects of the Hex perk persist until its Hex totem is cleansed or blessed. Now this build is probably a little bit overkill. It's probably the best and the strongest, but I suppose it could be classified as the best or the strongest on anyone. Maybe swap out Blood Favor, but here we go. You're going to kick it off with Pain Resonance. You start the trial with 4 tokens on Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Each time a survivor is hooked on a Scourge Hook for the first time, 1 token is consumed and the following effects apply. The generator with the most progression explodes and instantly regresses by 20% of its total progression. All survivors repairing that generator will scream, but not reveal their location. And again, pair it with Grim Embrace. Each time a survivor is hooked for the first time, Grim Embrace gains 1 token and activates once you are at least 16 meters away from the hook. For the first 1 to 3 tokens, it blocks all generators for 10 seconds, and for the 4th token, it blocks all generators for 40 seconds, and the aura of the obsession is revealed to you for 6 seconds. Blood Favor. Whenever a survivor loses a health state by any means, Hex Blood Favor blocks all pallets within 32 meters of that survivor's location from being pulled down for the next 15 seconds. All effects of the Hex perk persist until it is cleansed or blessed. Pop Goes the Weasel. After hooking a survivor, Pop Goes the Weasel activates for 45 seconds. Kicking a gen while Pop is active will instantly regress the generator by 20% of its current progression. Now, a fun stroke slugging build is perfect, and you're going to pair it with the 2 add-ons that I mentioned previously, which are Waiting for You Watch and Tequila Moonrock. I also made a video on this titled the Infinite Main Event build, so check that out if you haven't, because it is insane. Infectious Fright. Whenever a survivor is put into the dying state by any means, all other survivors within your terror radius will scream and reveal their current location to you for 6 seconds. Forced Hesitation. Whenever a survivor is put into the dying state by any means, all other survivors within 60 meters of them suffer from a negative 20% hindered status effect for 10 seconds. Hex Blood Favor. Whenever a survivor loses a health state by any means, Hex Blood Favor blocks all pallets within 32 meters of that survivor's location from being pulled down for the next 15 seconds. Again, once it's cleansed or blessed, you don't have that perk anymore. Hex Crowd Control. Whenever any survivor performs a rushed action to vault a window, Hex Crowd Control triggers its effect, and it permanently blocks the last 5 windows to all survivors. Any successive trigger unblocks the oldest blocked window. Another super fun build to try is the All-Seeing build. Now, I did make a video on an All-Seeing build a couple weeks ago, but there is a new All-Seeing build that is incredible. So you're going to start off with Lethal Pursuer. At the start of the trial, the auras of all survivors are revealed to you for 9 seconds. It also extends the duration of all instances of a survivor's aura being revealed to you by 2 seconds. Lethal Pursuer benefits from its own effect. So essentially, you see all survivors' auras for 11 seconds at the start of the trial. And we're going to go with Jagged Compass. So this is a Scourge perk. Whenever a survivor is unhooked from a normal hook, that hook is converted into a Scourge hook. Whenever you hook a survivor onto a Scourge hook, the aura of the generator with the most progression is highlighted in yellow for 10 seconds. But if you pair this with Floods of Rage, each time a survivor is unhooked from a Scourge hook, the auras of all other survivors are revealed for 7 seconds, meaning you will get insane aura reading after almost every unhook. I'm all ears. Any survivor performing a rushed vault within 48 meters of your location triggers I'm all ears, and the aura of that survivor is revealed to you for 6 seconds. This has a 30-second cooldown. I hope I've covered everything Trickster-wise, and that this guide will help you become an absolute demon on Trickster. I also hope that this guide will create many new Trickster mains too. If you feel like there's something that I missed, or something you want covered in more detail, or any general questions or queries, please feel free to leave a comment or join my community Discord and I will try to help you out. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.